All right, everybody. Glad to be back, bringing another video. It's been a couple of weeks, so I just wanted to give you an update. As you guys know, I work, right, for a living to earn a check. I love bringing the videos and, the teachings, and I'm going to continue to do that. But I wanted to give you an update to the job that I'm in, the company that I work for. And I'm sorry if my throat's a little... I've had a cold. My wife now has it. It's a bad one. I've had it it's been rough for a couple of days, but God is so good. He got me through it. I still went to the gym, worked out, plowed through it. I don't know what it was. Who knows? It could be COVID. I don't know. But anyway... Down here in Florida, it doesn't really matter. It's like the flu or some kind of sniffle or the cold. If you have COVID, all right, you got COVID. It is what it is. It's just another name for another cold. So anyway, but we just put that in God's hands, and it was a rough. I won't say it wasn't rough. It's been rough a couple of days for sure. My lungs feel better, but they were pretty congested. Excuse me. Throat hurt, pretty sore throat. Definitely fever, chills, all that good stuff. But so I wanted to give you this update because I think this sickness stuff that I'm dealing with has something to do with this that I want to share with you. So. How long ago? 4 months ago, I guess. In that security job that you guys are aware of, I've shared it before. It took a turn. It took a quick U-turn real quick. I want to share it with you guys what happened, but in a way I don't. In that security job, I was kind of getting groomed for it, for 5 years, and started out at the gate and we're just working, hours upon hours and earning the client's trust, and I still am in contact with these clients that I've worked for, working my way up through security, and I wanted to be a branch manager, definitely. That's really what I'm suited for, built for, my experience level, so on. Would have definitely been a branch manager, if not bigger than that. But it didn't happen. And why didn't it happen? Well, the enemy's always lurking at the end of the day. And, it's not that I didn't execute what God gifted me to be and do. It's not that. It's just that you're dealing with the enemy, and God allowed it, so I got as far as ops manager, and that was the security for 5 years. That's, just to put it in perspective, I did 4 years in the military, and I went to Desert Storm, so I was in the security business here for 5 years, and it didn't, matriculate to what I expected it should have, with my background and experience, or if my focus is going in and out. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, and then before that, I worked as a sales agent, national account manager for Avaya, which is a tech company, telecom. And I've got awards. I was telling my mom a little bit ago. In the first year I started there in that job, I had no experience in the telecom industry. And there's a lot of tech involved in that. It wasn't just like a phone and you pick up the phone, you say hello. There's a lot more to it. You had to get certified, you had to pass tests, and then you could sell it. And then if you could sell it, you'd make it, but it was a high risk, high reward job. So if you couldn't sell it, you were out. That was the way it was. And I remember the sales managers in the training for the first week. and I get it. They've been in it for years, right? These individuals were in the industry for years, and so we would go through sort of like mock sales trials and stuff, and I would handle it the way I thought was right. And I remember, and they would admit it if they were on the video right now, but they admitted it in front of me so I could share it. This was back, 8 years ago. And I handled it in a way that they thought was not going to work. They said, oh, you're never going to sell. That's not going to work. What you're doing, you're not doing what we're telling you to do. It's not going to work. Well, I ended up beating out the entire veteran sales floor in sales in the first year. And I had 4 months less than they did to sell. Just put that in perspective for a minute. Just get your mind around what I just said. In 4 months shy of what they had 4 months advantage. It's like giving someone a head start. And in that year, I've got the awards to prove it, and I've got pictures of it. In minus 4 years, I outsold every single rep, every veteran rep on that floor who had been on that floor for doing what they did for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, just depending on who they were. And I outsold them, and I was new. So after 3 years, I remember, I put in my dues for sure, and I went to the management of that company, and I said, look, you should have a promotional role for me, right? Make me something. I don't need to be sitting here doing the same old song and dance on the telephone, right? If I have the skill set that I have and I've proven it, then we need to get me off this, dialer and, get me into something else. And guess what? They refused to do it. They refused to do it. They refused to do it. And I guess the good news is the company had to file bankruptcy. So at that point, that was like, okay, Avaya filed bankruptcy. That's the end of it for me. I'm out. And that's when I went into the security field. So what is my point? What's the point I'm trying to make? We're talking a lot of years here, right? We're talking 3+ years at Avaya, 5 years in security. That's, in my age bracket, that's a lifetime. I'm not getting any younger. That's a lifetime. And I could tell you prior to that of the same kind of song and dance stories from employers, going back all the way to, 2005. I mean, long time. I've been through this. But I just want to bring up the most recent. And I think that a lot of people would have said, you know what, I'm going to throw in the towel and I'm going to doubt myself and I'm going to give up a long time ago before, even that occurred, these last 2 episodes. But with God, you can't give up. You can't give up. With God, you don't give up. With God, you know who you are. And that's, it is. So this is a video that's all about God and my Heavenly Father. It's all about Him. Because I know Him and I know what I am in Him. And that doesn't matter whether it's recognized by anybody. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What people do or what people say or what people don't do. That doesn't matter. I know what I am in Him. So I want to give you this other thought to this, other piece of information. And we're going to rewind even further back just to give you more of an understanding where I'm coming from. When I was a kid in school, I honestly hated with a capital H, I hated school. I hated school. I hated everything about it. I didn't apply myself. I didn't care. I daydreamed most of the time. I just dreamt about something I would do after school. I couldn't wait to get out. It was like, I felt like it was a prison to me. Just, it didn't satisfy me. It didn't inspire me. It didn't bring me in. It just, nothing about it mattered to me, right? So, did I do well? No, not really. I didn't do well in school, never did. And I always doubted myself, honestly. Um, when it came to school stuff, I just thought, maybe something's wrong with me and so forth. Um, so when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I said, well, I got to go back and I got to do something. It was really a turning point in my life, and I decided to go back into college and try to finish. I don't know why I would have done that, because I hated it when I was a kid, so why would I even do that? But something inside of me said, well, you know, there's a moment here where you just got to figure this out, right? So I did, and at the end of the day, and again, this is a time of my life where I knew that God's hand was on my life. I'm not saying at that point in time, that my life was reflecting that in the right way. It wasn't. It wasn't. But I knew God's hand was on my life, and that I could not just, again, give in or succumb to what I believed of my past, being a horrible student. And there was a lot of, there were things prior to me going back into college and doing what I did that gave, through God, that gave me the building blocks to do what I did. So anyway, I finished in 3 years, cum laude, graduate, honors, blah, blah, blah. Almost 2 majors, communication and psychology. It was a communication major and a psych minor. And it was at a University of Massachusetts. It wasn't like a broadcasting communication degree. This was a real, bona fide, you had to really study and work hard, and big time communication theory type stuff. It was deep dive communication. It was not, like I said, being a DJ or, being a radio broadcaster kind of communication. It was big time communication theory. So it was challenging for sure. And there was extra work that I did during that time that added to the workload, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. Maybe that's another time for another story. So anyway, there's been many years, where I went through a lot of different things, different challenges, and but the foundation is, I really believe that God's hand was on me, and my purpose, my reason for being here, and what I'm gifted for, and what I'm about, and what I do, that God's hand is all over it, period. And whether it's during the bad times or the good times, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not that God is, pleased during the bad times, but, his hand is still, still in the mix, still, making the music, if you will, with the record, even when it scratches, and even when it goes backwards, and even when it's bad. There's a melody that God is creating, and there's a purpose and a reason and a plan. So I just always kind of, that's what I breathed in, even through all the years of rejection and, not getting recognized and not feeling like I'm getting what I deserve. And, so here I am, and I run into this company because, again, the prior company threw me to the curb, and, and I'm in this environment in this company where I think this is like so unusual. This is crazy, it is a sales environment, and it gives you added challenge. They play very loud music while you're trying to sell over the phone. Most people in the past that I knew that tried to, that were selling, that were in other sales environments, there's no way they would have managed that. They wouldn't have lasted. There's no way. They would have tried to sell over the phone with blasting music, over the speakers. It's been the detriment of a lot of people there. A lot of people quit in this sales environment. They don't make it. They don't last. People that even do well for a short time, but then they cave. They just cave. They cave to the demand that you have to be there every day, or you won't get paid your typical hourly rate. You won't get that rate if you're not there every day. There's no sick time or personal days off or anything like that. They don't offer anything like that to the salespeople. So you got to show up, or you're not going to get paid, and then you got to sell, or you're really not going to get a satisfactory paycheck. It's just not going to work. It's not going to pay the bills. So it's a very challenging environment for sure. And I've thought many times, why am I even here? Why am I here? Why has God brought me in this place? And the music's a lot of the time is not good. It's not what I would play. And of course the philosophy is not what it's in alignment with what I believe. And I've shared that in the videos, that it's a lot of time it's like Sodom and Gomorrah, and it's not a place where I really want to be. But I prayed many times in the course of the last 4 months. I'm like, God, is this really where you want me to be? Is this what you want me to do? You give me direction. You show me. You can direct my path for sure. So what's weird is that he's kept me here. He's kept me here, and then why? Because I've kept selling. And I'm like, that's pretty much the acid test. He didn't turn the faucet off, and I give him all the credit for the success or the sales or whatever. So in under 4 months, just under 4 months, that's it, 3 months and short of 4 months, they promoted me to branch sales manager, branch sales trainer, in other words. So my job is going to be in a classroom training people how to sell. Remember the story I told you about Avaya and the tech company? You'll never sell. You can't sell. You stink. And I ended up being the number one. This company also tried to tell you how to sell. And when I heard them when I was in the class, I was like, I'm going to do it the way I think is right. So I didn't conform. I didn't do what they said to do. I did what I knew in my spirit was right, and that proved to be very fruitful. And if I didn't follow that and didn't follow my heart, I know I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now, even though they trained me to do something the way they thought was right. So, what am I trying to say about all this? I'm very thankful, first of all, that God provided it. That now I can get into more of a salary, paid time off, which did not come as a sales rep on the floor. You don't get any paid time off. You show up to work, you do your job, you'll get paid. You don't, you won't get paid. That's the way this place is. The sales floor does not get special treatment by any stretch. You show up, you sell, you'll get paid. You don't show up, you don't sell, you won't. It's that simple. If you sell really well and you want to take a day or two off, that's up to you. You've earned it. That's fine. You make that choice, but it's not paid time off. So, I could have done that, I guess, but I at this point in my life, I know, again, what is God's purpose. So I'm excited. What I'm trying to, I guess, get at is I'm excited to use this platform to share with new people that come through for the first time. Many of these people have no sales experience at all. Not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them have sales experience, but many of them don't. And I'm excited to share with them how how success can be experienced. And I'm going to say this to you guys, and a lot of people think, salespeople are shysters, they're liars, and in some industries, maybe that's true, right? Depends what you're selling. Depends what you're representing and selling. What I'm selling is very straightforward. It's not a con job. It's not in any way a scam. It's very straightforward. It's an easy decision in my part, in my view. Consumers make it more difficult. They overthink it, so that's what gets in the way as far as them deciding whether they want to trust me and buy or not. But at the end of the day, it's a very easy, proposition. But what's most important in sales is being you. Being yourself, being you. If they don't hear, if they don't feel and hear that they're really just speaking to a person, if you don't present it that way, as a person, talking to them on the phone, and this is phone sales, just so you know, this is not going to visit people face to face. So they've got to feel over the phone as if they've known you forever. Comfortable. Personable. That to me is, to be honest, that's the number one secret ingredient to sales. They got to feel like they're at ease because you make them feel at ease in the conversation. If you sound salesy, if you sound scripty, then they're going to pick up on that right away. And at the end of the day, like I said, when I call them, and if you're in a good sales environment, you have a good sales proposition, and you believe in it, then at the end of the day, they just have to hear you. But they got to know you first. They got to feel you first. Before they hear you, they've got to feel you. You know what I mean? They've got to feel you before they can hear you. They got to connect with you before they sign a contract with you. You know what I mean? You have to be real. I don't care what, the company I work for, they have scripts. They've got scripts, And if you just read it the way it stated, and it would sound very scripty. Would you get a lot of sales from that? No. Mm-mm. Can you use the elements of the script? Of course. But you have to make it you. That you are talking to someone as if you've known them forever. That they just feel totally at ease with you. Like you're just a familiar friend giving them a call. That's how they're interpreting you. If you can do that in that call, then you're going to get a lot further than if you sound, like you're over the phone. It's just not going to work. And that's where a lot of people, they just miss that little nuance. They miss that personality. The wall dropping personality, like I've known you forever, kind of secret sauce. So that's what I hope to get across, There's a lot of excitement for the future, and I'm very happy about it. I'm excited about it with the company. I've heard a lot of good things from the owner all the way down. I went out to dinner, had a great steak dinner, and he treated a select few on the floor. I didn't really realize I was being interviewed for this position, but he's a really, owner's a great down-to-earth guy, and so he and I already connected. He's ex-military, I'm ex-military, so we'll get together and have some fun here shooting the fun stuff on the property. And then in the future, I'll hope to put up some video of that. It'll be fun. But that's all. Why did he connect with me? Because I was just being real. I wasn't trying to be fake. I don't know. You just got to care. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people struggle so much with themselves that they don't just let the guard down and just care and connect. Just care and connect. It's so many people are struggling with so many different issues inside themselves. In order to connect with the right people at the right time, they have no idea what that's about or how to handle it. They don't know how to handle it because they're they don't exist in that space. They're just so bound up and you know so self-conscious or don't care. They just, or if it doesn't please them in a matter of 2 minutes, they're out. They're tapped out. And that's what I'm trying to, I guess, get across in this message. It's not a 2 minute thing. It's not that. You got to be ready to be stretched. You got to be stretched out. You got to be um, in a lot of ways humbled. You got to be humbled because people aren't going to pick up on you if you're not humbled and you don't have a good spirit about you. They're not going to pick up on you. They're not. They're going to interpret you in a way that, you're not going to get really much attention. Since I've been with this company, it's pretty crazy, but since I've been with this company, I'm being real honest. From day one, I've had applause. I mean, it's a sales environment, so they really recognize people, talk about people, they have events, but the applause that I've had when my name is mentioned, are you kidding me? In my past jobs, like I said, come on now. No way, And what's funny is I'm older now. I feel like an old man at this point. I would have loved these applause, 30 or whatever years ago. But I'm getting them now, at my age now, almost 55. It's not that I've changed. I'm still who I was 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm still that same hustler, that same, intuitive person, you know, uh, persuasive type of person. I mean, I'm still that person, but for some reason back then it was hard times. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I get all these applause from these kids that are in their 20s and 30, early 30s, and it's just weird. It's strange, but I don't know. So, I know the Bible says Moses was, as young as an ox, and he was 100, plus. So maybe that's what God has in store. But what's the point I'm trying to make? I've had a lot of doubters, and you know who you are. If you're listening to this video, you know who you are. I've had a lot of doubters. I've had a lot of critics. Yeah, those who are listening to this video, you know who you are. I've had a lot of doubters, critics. People thought, something's wrong with him. Why can't he ever make it? He keeps failing from job to job. What's wrong with him? I've had all that. Guess what? You keep thinking that. You keep thinking that. Because guess what? I don't think what you think. I don't think what you think. I know what's true. And that's what's kept me going for all this time. I haven't listened to that voice. Those other voices. I haven't listened to it. And believe me, there's many years where I could have listened to it. I could have easily listened to it. Easily. Could have easily listened to it. I could have said, you know what, they're right. Something's wrong with me. It must be me. Something's wrong with me. I must be, what's wrong with me? I could have easily said it. No. I knew. Mm-mm. No. And, I knew they were they just, they couldn't wait. They just like to try to dismiss or say, you know what, he's just, he's nothing. He's nothing. He's not, obviously something's wrong with him, right? Going through all these jobs, something's wrong with him. Well, yeah. It's the bottom line, people. It's like saying, you know, if you read the Bible, guys, you want to know what my little secret is. You read the Bible. Read the Bible, okay? You got God. You got the God of the universe. The God of the universe. God himself being rejected. 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 This is the God of the universe being rejected. Rejected. For like ever. He was rejected in the Garden of Eden. He was rejected among Israel. He was rejected among the world. This is God. He was rejected. God was rejected. God made you. God created everything. And yet the history, the story, is that he was rejected by everyone. That's the story of the Bible. He's rejected. Not accepted. He's rejected. Does that mean he's less than God because he's rejected? No. Does that mean he's wrong or he's fictitious or, doesn't really exist or he's not trustworthy? No. No. Nope. It's none of that. Unfortunately, you know what it is? Envy. Envy. It's called envy. What do you mean, Dan? What do you mean envy? Why did Satan fall? Why did Satan fall? Envy. Why did Eve bite the apple and tell Adam to do it? Envy. Envy. They wanted more. Envy. Envy. This is the bottom line. People don't want to be second best. They don't want to be behind anybody. They don't want anybody to be, successful. Inherently, that's not what people want. They don't. They don't. They really don't. Your own family and friends might root for you. If you're lucky, they'll root for you. But that's not the case in every case. So, in jobs and corporations and companies, people have a hard time and struggle because of envy. So, I give you guys this message just to share with you that there's been many years that I've gone through that have been a face-to-face battle with what I'm talking about. And like I said, I'm going to be 55, and I'm not the VP of a company by now. I'm not the president of a company. I'm not, mighty executive of a company. I'm still trying to survive and find my way through, God's help and grace, His guidance, His provision. It's been like grabbing on from one vine to the next. Take this vine. Okay, there's another vine. Take it, one vine to the next. That's all it's been for many years. Just grab the next vine. Not get planted anywhere, not be given that opportunity to be who really I should be. But I keep having to start over and start over and start over. I'm 55 years old. So like I said, I went out to dinner with the owner, and he said, "Why is Dan, sitting here is just selling? I mean, it's good for the company because he's selling, but this is not what he's this is not what he's meant to do. This isn't what he's meant to be." So his word was planted into the branch CEO, basically. In his head, and then he had some other opinions from other upper management supervisors, and guess what? They all said the same thing. for once at this point in my life, for once, everyone was on the same page and said 100% Dan needs to be in a different role, and he needs to get ready and get equipped to get through this company and up this company chain, and he's an asset to the company. And so that's a big step, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful, so grateful for the opportunity that was given to me, and as a sales trainer, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm excited about the people I'll meet, and hopefully the people I'll impact, for them to thrive and do well in sales, but in the right way. It's really in the genuine right way, and that's what I hope to get across. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this video up to date with you guys and kind of give you just an update in terms of what I've been doing the last couple of weeks and what's been going on. But I'm thrilled, I'm excited, and just excited, and I'm thankful for God. So it's all because of God, and that's what people are missing out on. And it's a double-edged sword, because it's created me to be what I am, but at the same time, it's been very much opposed by a lot of companies throughout my lifetime. So I get where that comes from, because God is also opposed, as I said, from Adam and Eve through Israel, and of course he's opposed to the false church, because the Bible talks about the false church and the false prophets and false teachers. So God is going to be opposed. I mean, that's the way it is, but he's still God. He's still the creator of the universe. He's still, the most powerful, most knowledgeable being that exists. And yet he's been rejected. So I hope this video brings you encouragement and courage. If you found yourself discouraged, rejected, just you feel worn and torn and weathered, and you just feel like what's the point? I just want to give you encouragement. I'm going to be 55. It took me this long to finally kind of get into this space right now, and for this at this point in time in my life, for people to see it and admit it and say, okay, let's roll with this guy Dan. Let's roll with him. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that with you. So we'll get you another video real soon. Take care.